Hello.
Hello.
Wow. Welcome. This is episode 9 of our One Piece side episodes of NgoVo Convo podcast.
Yeah.
Where two stupids make a right.
That's hype.
And a hype.
Right. That's hype.
Yeah. Yeah. Hype and right. I'm one of your hosts, Veronica Vo, and I'm joined by Harrison O. We're here. We're online. Yeah, we are here.
We did it.
If you're new here, we both just want an excuse to talk about anything that ranges from anime to comics. But also, we're clearing up Harrison's One Piece backlog slowly but surely. We're getting there.
Why'd you emphasize slowly?
Slowly.
Just putting it out there.
But some would say we're conversing.
Like NgoVo Convo and NgoVo Convo spread right above my head.
Wow, it's like, wow, we say this 3 times a week and you all still don't know what it is.
I still know what it is, so it's really a good reminder for me.
You can watch every episode on youtube.com or listen to it as a podcast by searching NgoVo Convo on your podcast service of choice. We're on 10 plus different platforms.
We're
on the main ones.
We're on the main ones, yeah.
We're on the main ones.
The ones that...
You can't find us on the little ones. I don't know if we can help you, but we'll figure it out. And in this episode, we are going to be talking about the final part 3 of the Sky Island saga. Or as Harrison would like to break it up, part 2 of Skypiea arc.
The title would actually be Sky Island. No, it'd be like Skypiea
arc
Saga
part 2.
Oh yeah. Sky
Island Saga part 3. Which makes Harrison want to punish himself because we've been shitting on Attack on Titan for so long that we've started to do our own.
To see yourself become the villain.
Yes, we are the villains now of our own stories.
I mean, okay. Granted, really quick.
No, this was a big.
This is a big
saga.
arc. It was like 60 plus chapters. I was like halfway through. I'm like, this should be broken up.
Yeah. So in this episode, we are going to be talking about chapters 253 through 302, but it's basically the last half of Skypiea.
Yes.
AKA the juicy stuff of Skypiea.
The payoff.
Payoff.
Everything's wrapping up here or tying together. Blah blah blah. All that stuff.
And if you're following us, you can either read it or watch it. Harrison's currently reading it and only watching some episodes, some fights, some scenes. Just make sure he gets the animation part.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You should totally comment and let me know what I should watch though, because at times I can't tell if I should watch.
All the fights. I feel like all the fights are really good. No matter the decade that you're in. Sadly, I have to say decade.
I actually interpret that as like the decade when the episode dropped because it's old.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty real.
Old. But let's get into the second half of Skypiea. We never do non-spoiler thoughts. We just go right in. And this last half was a lot. And I feel like a lot of fights were happening. You learn a lot of like terms. You kind of figure out who Enel is. And so I just wanted your thought process as you were reading the second half on like what everything was.
TLDR, it's all the angels' faults. It's their fault entirely.
Yes.
Or the Sky people. It's all their fault.
Sky people.
This literally would not have happened if they didn't do anything.
Yes.
Yeah. That's my TLDR of like the entire saga. Like.
Oh yeah.
The entire saga. That's it.
Oh, you know what we should do? Let's get into Nami figuring out that Nolan's map and Skypiea's map connecting makes Sky Island.
Because that's just cool because previously we talked about how like they saw half of the house and she even mentioned it. She was like, she noticed that when they were down there's no stairs to the house, even though there's a second floor, but nothing to go up to the second floor.
Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't even notice that because I was so busy paying attention to how there's half a house and the front half he just made like a fake.
It's fake.
Fake thing, whatever.
Yeah.
Fake castle or whatever, whatnot.
Yeah.
Cricket did, right? But then
Cricket. Yeah.
Again, I think they do it. Oda does a really good job and just subtly just bringing back or reiterating that people like whatever Straw Hat crew member skills is. Because after a while, they kept calling her Navigator, but I keep forgetting, like, oh, she really is good at making maps.
Oh, yeah. And you really see it.
Yeah.
Because she was probably the only person that could have figured this out and put two random maps, who at this point, they don't correlate to each other yet. And
only because of the house. Only because of the house is when they realize.
The house.
And she, like, if you look at the map, she's like, here's the X. That's where the house is, but that's also where the upper yard is.
Upper yard, yeah.
So it's like, oh, they match up here. This is half of it. I'm like, whoa. Yeah,
I know. And it's really cool because the Shandians, the people that were their land was taken away from initially. The angels, did you enjoy that anyone that found treasure on the upper island, they called it like a varse?
I did not enjoy that. I think
because I thought it was interesting. It was really interesting because they were picking up like random shit, like dirt, rocks,
all the stuff they found, and they're like, we praise this as like, like they worship whatever is coming up, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. No, I thought that was interesting. I don't like the name. I thought the name was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, no, it was really weird.
But
yeah, and this was, you were right in the part one, but this was when we initially saw Enel.
Mm-hmm. He just
and
does
his
flips.
vessels.
His vessels.
Vessels. That's what they were called.
We were talking about it last episode. I was like, what are they called?
what are their names? No, yeah, vessels. I need to know your thoughts on Enel because I've been waiting for this moment for a very long time.
Okay, before I even say that, I think the art's getting better, and my wife pointed out, she's like, how do you like the art so far? I'm like, it's actually gotten better. Like, it's not as bad. And she's like, good, because this is when I think it starts getting better too.
Oh yeah.
And I was, because that pan, I actually I searched it up because I was like, wait, I think I've seen this dude before. When he flips in, beats up all the vessels, and it just lands into his chair and like sits on the side.
You've seen it, haven't you?
I've seen it. I was like, whoa. And it's not even like I watched the episode. I just remember seeing like a GIF or a clip.
Yeah, a clip.
Yeah. So he's cool.
Your thoughts? I need your thoughts.
He's absolutely don't like him, but I think he's cool.
He's a douchebag.
He's an absolute D-bag.
He's an absolute D-bag, yeah.
And I am here for it because he is one of the... He's an interesting villain so far in that, like, I just think he's a douchebag, but, like, not, like... So far, I'm like, okay, what's his deal? What's his goal?
Yeah.
Because he gathers the vessels to, like, talk about his plan. Which you're like, oh, he doesn't care to... Which you learned he doesn't care to, like... take over Skypiea in a sense, but...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's even worse.
No, I've been waiting for you to meet him for a long time. Like a very long time. And I think this is the first kind of saga where the Straw Hats are the only pirates there.
I was going to say.
They don't interact with any other pirates but themselves.
Dude, get out of my head. Because I literally was thinking how... I'm like, it was cool to think that the villain is not a warlord. They could have kept going with it, but they didn't.
They didn't, yeah.
So this is actually just like a whole, like... The area is not really like a pirate. The only pirate-based thing in this saga is Jaya.
Yep. Going back to Jaya, yeah. And obviously they have to make a plan. They always plan, do their split. And I always have to go back to this part of them splitting up into two groups. Because you start noticing who knows direction and who doesn't.
Oh, you mean the two that don't know directions? And they just solidify?
And Zoro?
Because in the morning they're like gonna go, and then because it was Luffy, Zoro,
Robin and
were Chopper.
one group. And Chopper, and Chopper.
So,
yeah.
literally they just swapped out Nami and Luffy. That's really all that happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Luffy's like, Zoro, what are you doing? It's this way. And then Zoro's like, wait, no, west is to the right. So we're going or whatever direction. I forgot which one. But he's like, it's to the right, so it's to my right.
And I love Robin. She's like, she has this look, motherly look. She's like, these two idiots.
Yeah. But she's like, boys, it's this way. And they're like, wow. Gosh.
What's going on?
And Chopper's
Chopper's just being a little baby.
Yeah. He's funny.
Yeah. He is funny. And I think you really can tell that his fighting style was like pretty interesting. We'll get into it a little bit all the fight. There are tons of fights.
So yeah, that was the issue. When you asked me what my favorite fights were, in the segments that we were given last, like in the chapter segments for last episode, it was really hard to say. There was like maybe two
mainly.
Yeah, two big ones. While here it's like so many.
Dude, there's so many 1-on-1s, even 2-on-2s.
So many mini fights too, actually.
Yeah,
because
mini fights.
Essentially a war's about to break out too.
Oh yeah, you get introduced to like the history too of Sky Island, and and it's connecting to our little liar Nolan's.
Who's not a liar?
Who's not a liar?
Dude,
for once.
This is the reason that entire, because that was like 10 chapters.
Oh yeah.
That was the entire reason why I was like, dude, I messaged you after I finished that, I was like, dude, we gotta break this up into two.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a bunch of fighting up to it, because like the Sandians are like trying to go at it. They start before we even go to the history, because we had to talk about what's his name, Wiper.
Yeah.
I think it's Viper, but
it's Viper.
It's funny because it's with a W, so I'm like, is it just Wiper?
No, I think it's Viper.
I would hope it's Viper, because
I
was like, Viper and Wiper are two different names. One sounds cooler than the other. It's Wiper.
Stick with Viper.
And it's obviously Wiper, but
yeah, okay.
Because they show him like initially he's like kind of the
not the leader,
not
the current leader.
Is he the leader, or is he like just
like a rebellion?
Because they still have the chief. Yeah. They still have the chief.
He's like the rebellion,
but he's like the
leader.
warrior lead or something. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, I'll say rebellion.
He leads like the warrior group, right?
That's what leads people into like the upper.
Yeah, he's like the warlord essentially, right?
Yeah.
So I initially was like, wow, that's the guy she didn't like at all. I thought he was
like
stupid.
Him. Oh, okay.
I thought he was like, I'm like, oh, it's just another hothead. He's trying to get through.
Oh, that's interesting.
At the end, I did like him. By the end, I liked him. Okay.
Yeah, as you should.
Because I understood.
As you should.
But initially, when they showed him, he's just like a hothead, in my opinion. And then he's let's just go to war. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
For like.
But
let's just fight the. Yeah. So he's the descendant of the. Not the
former chief.
Was he the chief? Also, was he the chief too? I thought.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, no, he was the chief. What's his name? Do you have his name?
I forget. I don't have it.
Anyway, well, in the meantime, he's the descendant, and then they did a really good segue because they kept trying to show him fighting. He was so bent on like trying to beat Eneru, and of course, all his dudes are getting wrecked. And then then one of the chapters they show like they do a flashback of all the guys being young, including him. And the chief was like, "Oh, by the way, there's a reason why your goal might be different. And it's because he's the descendant of that chief, the first chief, when they got to Sky Island."
Yes. Because what happened,
dude?
Harrison?
Okay, I thought this was the coolest thing. I thought this was really cool, and this is why I was like, I want this to be a second episode, because the whole history tied everything together. I did not care.
In like a pretty little bow.
Yeah, I really did not care what was happening with Eneru at that point, because I was like, dude, tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Because Eneru was actually messing. Because Eneru was like messing with everyone at this point. He's about to destroy the whole world, but that's not. The point.
He wanted a little Hunger Game episode of his own.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. He was like, at the end, 5 people will stand. I was like, dude, that's crazy.
Absolutely crazy.
He was wrong the entire time.
No, he was wrong.
The history was cool because it finally just showed like, oh, Nolan and okay, what's the chief's name? It's gonna bother me.
I forget. You can look it up. But what did you enjoy the most about this history, this little flashback?
That it was just Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, it was just Calgara.
Oh, okay.
Calgara.
And kind of like modernizing medicine, essentially.
But I liked how. So essentially, it was just the typical Thanksgiving thing in the U.S. where the whole thing was like, oh, the Western people are talking to the natives, and oh wow, they're the difference is that the Westerners aren't the reason why they died off, but they helped them with the plague and all that stuff. And Nolan's actually like an explorer and like actually a scientist to some extent, or a botanist. Is what they said.
A botanist, yeah. That's
cool. I was like, okay, this is awesome. Like, it's just not just another pirate dude. He's actually an explorer. He meets Calgara and all that, and then I think it showed they showed how badass Nolan is, though.
Oh yeah, because you think he's just this like little nutty like scientist.
Yeah, but he's actually strong because he took on Calgara and prevented them from sacrificing. He's like, this is barbaric, blah blah blah. And I just like how the ideologies like just show like, oh, progress versus like keeping to like not even tradition. It's just they just
kept to themselves. They were more
they kept
in their little bubble.
They're just more sacrificial, right? Sacrificial focus.
Yeah. He wanted to sacrifice his daughter.
Dude, that was a quick twist. It's like, oh, this is his daughter. I was like, dang, that sucks.
Dang.
But no, this is like and then just find out that it's El Dorado and all that stuff, and the whole thing was, oh, they were friends, and at first it's like, oh, they were getting along and all that, because he was like, oh, offered his daughter for marriage, and no one's like, nah, I already am married, I have a son or child at home. I was like, dang, all right, that's consistent. But it's like everything we kept hearing from Jaya is now connecting to here, and you're like, oh,
and it's making sense
because it is making sense. And I was like, damn, this is really cool. The history, like finally we're getting to why. And I thought the really cool part was Calgara had to hear why, or no, Calgara gave a reason for Viper, because Viper's like, oh, there's one thing Calgara regretted. And at first I was like, what did he regret? At first I thought it was like because at first I thought it was the whole, he never forgave Nolan for like cutting down trees, but then they realized that the trees was the reason why they were sick, blah blah blah, all this stuff. Again,
but then the trees have some history with their tribes, and it's like souls. It's connected to souls and like dead souls, basically.
But it's just like it's the reason that they're dying, which is ironic, right? Because they're trying to preserve, when in reality Nolan cut it down
to save them.
But they didn't know that. He just thought, oh, these guys just messed, like, stomped on our traditions, blah blah. Just to realize when they're about to leave, oh, he did it to save them. And they rang the bell. So this bell is the song you're talking about.
Which you weren't hype about. I was very surprised that you were not hyped about this. I was like, oh my god, this is about to come right back up.
It did. I wasn't hyped until they gave the history lesson. I was like, oh, dang, this is cool. Oh my god.
Yeah.
They have to. This is what I call it, though. I was like, the bell is the thing they're going to have to ring at the end.
Yes. And then, at the same time as this history lesson that we're given is that Robin and that group, they're trying to find the city of gold on their own, on that island, the upper area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I feel like especially like the execution of Nolan.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's important.
It's important to note that people truly thought he was lying.
Yeah.
About an island not existing. So they kind
of because they didn't because everyone was like, oh, he's like, I found his island. He did the whole explorer thing, like, oh, Columbus went back and he's like, hey, I found his place. It's not India.
And then the king got greedy and he wanted gold, and so they had to go back, but
just to find out there was no island, and that's why he died. Mm-hmm. But to his dying breath, he's like, no, it's real. And it, dude, that's why I was like so sad. And
that correlates to One Piece being real. if you notice, the very first panel you're talking about with Goldie Roger.
Yes. Duh.
I feel like you
Dude,
just
I knew that.
thought about that.
No.
No. The correlations are coming together.
Dude, that's cool.
I see.
No, that's dope.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, that's dang. All right. See, this is what I was gonna say. Like everything's like so. Everything's deep to some extent because it's really cool to see like like the whole like friendship thing, and it's a tragedy in that like Nolan didn't get to find the island again, but then Calgar kept ringing the bell. That's the thing. He kept ringing the bell to like let Nolan know, hey, we're still here. But his regret was he couldn't let him know that they were there. Because I'm going to go back to what I said. The Sky people literally just ripped up. They just ripped up this island, this part of the island, because they wanted, like, what was it? They just wanted treasure or some shit, right?
The Vars.
The Vars. They just wanted the Vars, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he found the commie at that point was like, just get me more, and then there's inhabitants on this island, kill them all.
Yeah. I mean, greed was a really big part of this.
But that was 400 years ago, or in One Piece is like 400 years prior, right? Yeah. And it all goes back to Sky people. History repeats itself. It's just like, dude, there's like little things where it's like, in history you can just point to, and that's what I like how Robin says that. But in IRL, it happens to a lot of nations too. It's just like, whoa, is like one group causes an issue because of greed, and it causes like decades of like war or like strife and like grudges 100%. Against each other, and it just goes to, I was like, this is too real. This is I was like, dang. So I liked history back then, and I say back then like high school and stuff, right? And college. Yeah. And this is like something I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, to me, it was just really cool to see how the history just like one thing just caused the whole thing to like mess up.
Oh yeah. And
now here we are with Enel like trying to destroy everything, which ironically he was like, I want to bring Skyland back down.
Yeah, to the blue sea.
To the blue sea. I was like,
yeah.
On paper.
Ironic.
On paper. It's not a bad idea. But it's
executing it.
But after if you've seen Avengers 2,
no. You're not wrong. But also they keep talking about this thing called like a mantra, right? They kept alluding to this word and mantra and what it means, because there's a little girl, her name was like Isa. Yeah, Isa. Mm-hmm. The little girl from like Shandia.
Yeah, the Shandia.
But she was always having issues since birth, because mantra is the power to listen, and it like listens to like humans like voices like from their bodies. So as you're following this second half of Skypiea, you're noticing that she can tell when people aren't alive anymore, and she's like, because every panel that she's in, she's like, oh, I'm not hearing like certain voices anymore. Like
I don't know if she can pinpoint exactly who, but they can count how many voices, right?
But she can count, yeah.
So
and Enel has the same.
He has the same thing,
and that's what people are scared of, because he can hear kind of like disruption and like people who are going to like rebel against him, and that's why
it's a combination, right?
That's what he does.
Because his range was like insane because because
he's a devil fruit, the rumble.
Yeah, the rumble.
Yeah.
And that's because then okay. One day they showed that, and they revealed that he could do. He had like. Sorry, I'm trying to think is it he has mantra, or he can. What's that? How does that work? Like he has mantra, or he like can deal with mantra, or what's that?
He has mantra.
He has mantra. Okay, so he has that, mantra. And he has a devil fruit, and I'm like, oh, that's why he's terrifying. And
that's how. Yeah.
Okay, and then I was gonna ask Mike, for devil fruits, I'm asking this as like a.
Oh boy. I'm excited.
Do devil fruits have this thing where this is a huge spoiler thing? You can just say yes or no. I'm assuming it's a spoiler thing. Elements, you know how like there's like devil fruits of like random stuff, but is there like the primal devil fruits in a sense? Because he has lightning in a sense.
So in like there's one side by side where Oda was kind of explaining that there are certain devil fruit categories.
Okay.
So they do have categories. Okay. Because you notice that what is it? Like Chopper has like the human fruit. Mm-hmm. And you start thinking about the words like Zonin. The elders, the supreme elders were talking about that. And then like Enel has the Logia fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in that side by side, Oda was kind of like explaining, and there's only so many fruits that are kind of superior.
Okay. Yeah. So there is like
there's kind of like a superior or like super powerful. And Oda also revealed that Luffy's is a basic one. His gum fruit is like the basic.
It sounds
at
like
the bottom.
It sounds like it. I only say this because like you hear like chop or like gum or like all these things, and it's just like a power, like just a random power. But when it came to like Enel's, for instance, it was lightning, which you could do so much with it, which he shows, and I'm like, this is why it's powerful. I'm like, okay, that's all I was curious is like, I was curious if it's like a primal thing or if it's like, okay, so categories. Cool.
It's categories, yeah. And you get to learn more.
Yeah.
Like Oda, he like dropped like kind of the names of each categories at certain points.
Well, you won't tell me that. I'll just read it later.
I won't tell you that. Yeah, I won't tell you.
That's just something I noticed, and I thought that was really cool because throughout the whole...
I'm glad you're noticing.
I didn't notice the song, but I noticed this part.
But you noticed the fruit. But Harrison, there were so many fights. I have to ask you about the first part of Luffy versus Enel. It was so memeable.
Okay. And the meme is because when Luffy encounters Enel, it's the funniest thing because he's ready to like wreck his shit, and he's like, because he's so used to it, right?
Yeah.
No one and everyone, because throughout the entire arc, everyone kept saying he's invincible, he's unstoppable, no one could do anything to him. And I kept saying, like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, Luffy will deal with it. But the kicker, and I didn't even process this, was that because in my head I'm like, Gum, yeah, he just stretches. That's all I can think of, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy, he's rubber.
Yeah, he's a rubber boy.
So lightning doesn't do anything to the rubber.
Oh no, yeah.
And so that's why I was like, I didn't even notice that until like the guy was like, oh, what are you gonna do? And Luffy just decks him, and then he just rolls back and he lands. I shit you not, I was sitting in bed reading, and the moment I scrolled to that panel, it's just a big panel of Enel's like face.
And just
I'm gonna put it up here, and it's like it's the funniest thing. I busted out laughing so hard. I was in my room and my wife was out here, and I heard her just laugh a little bit, and I walked out. I was like, "Did you hear me laugh?" She's like, "That was you?" I was like, "Yeah." So I apologize to my neighbors because I laughed. I screeched.
It was screeching. But there was okay. Next part. Which fights did you enjoy the most?
Choppers.
Ooh. Chopper was being brave.
I thought that was funny. I thought it was really good.
He was being very brave. He was a brave little boy.
I thought, okay, I liked it because he actually fought really well. And then at the end, he's like, I beat him. And then the guy was like, he still moved. And he's like, oh, God, he's alive. But then he starts sinking. He's like, he pauses. I still win. Epitome of we take those.
Oh, yes. Did you like Chopper and Zoro's dynamic?
Yes. I thought it was really good.
Wasn't it cute?
Yeah.
It was super cute.
And of course, I saw like the guy with the dog, and he had a sword. And I was this is gonna be a Zoro fight, cool.
Oh yeah.
In my head I was like, Zoro's gonna get hurt somehow. He did.
Predictable, but yes,
so far.
True.
Yes. Comes out, yes, cool. I thought the funny part with that one though is how the dog was like trained hand-to-hand combat.
I know.
And he stood up and he's like, oh, and then Zoro's like, stay.
And he can walk.
Zoro's like, stop it, and he just stops, and he interprets it as stay. He's like, do you just like follow any order? And then he just sat there, and he's like, beat yourself up till you pass out, and he like just did that, and I was like, why would that be a command?
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
I know. All these fights were happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
And the funny part is that at some point, Luffy needed to escape again. And I just needed your opinion on Luffy being in the serpent.
So that happened before he meets Enel, right? Because
yes,
everyone kept fighting Enel and they kept getting beat. And I was like, and I looked at my wife at the end. I'm like, he got stuck in the serpent because he had to, plot wise, right? She's like, yeah, because rubber. I
just need your opinion because Luffy was extra stupid in the serpent.
Okay. I may have missed it. When did he get into the serpent? I thought he walked into something.
He thought it was a cave.
Yeah, he walked into it, right?
Yeah, a cave.
It looked like a cave, though. But it looked like the cave, right? Until the snake moved. And I was like, I was just making sure I didn't miss it. And I was like, wait.
Yeah, you didn't miss it. He walked into the serpent, which he thought it was a cave.
Well, granted,
going in the wrong direction, may I add.
Yes. I love how they showed the map of like where they're supposed to go. And literally Robin's walking and it was literally a straight path.
The straight,
and that's
yeah.
it.
And
but
everyone else was
like
yeah. It was crazy.
I thought it was funny to just see him like freak out in the serpent. He's like, get me out of here. And the serpent would just like react.
Like start flipping out and
every
reacting.
punch or every movement.
And that serpent,
dude, okay,
has been alive.
That's insane.
For a while.
So not only it's like the so going back to the history thing, that's crazy because Nolan killed one. Then the child came out and also died.
Yeah.
Because it was it came out again and died. But then we find out it had the original serpent had a grandchild, which was this one, and it was tiny.
It's a little baby.
Little baby. But it loved the song so much. That's why.
Yeah, I was waiting for the song.
Again, everything tied together. I was like, damn, this is so cool.
I know. And let's talk about Robin finding this city, the lost city.
Of course she would. She's like the archaeologist.
Of course she would. Yeah, she figured it out pretty quickly. Yeah. I might add.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you probably weren't surprised that they were not going to find gold.
No. But at that point, I just assumed all the gold was just in the serpent at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew they weren't going to find it. I just didn't think it was in the serpent. That's all.
I know. Okay. Any other fights did you like? Did you like the Nami one? And Ganfor? Versus the brothers of Satori.
I thought that was cool.
Hotori and Kotori. They're triplets.
Cool. Again, I thought it was like another just cool fight just to show that Nami isn't totally useless. So.
And she didn't want to be. She verbally said that she wanted to help out.
See? That's why I was like, nice. She wants to not be protected as much. Cool.
Yeah.
Because it's true. I was like, she has her weather staff.
Staff, yeah.
Yeah, the staff. I'm like, yeah. I feel like she could do stuff. What was I saying? Yeah, the big fights that stuck out were like the Chopper one and
both of them? Or the one
mainly him versus the swamp dude.
The swamp guy.
Yeah.
Did you like the panel where Chopper is just like walking around and he's
Everyone
like
calls
looking
him a raccoon.
Like, yeah.
He's like
he's just looking around.
Well, no, I thought the other guy was just funny because he always just had his eyelids like I don't know what he was doing. He was just looking around probably.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't see anything, sir. It's because you're showing us the whites again. He's like, oh.
Because his eyes are always rolled back.
Yeah.
I thought that panel was so funny because this Chopper just like
literally walking past him.
And walking past him. and then just keeps looking around. The animation is really funny because hearing Chopper just like talk.
I should watch this.
It's so funny.
But otherwise,
okay. I was gonna say, did you like Luffy and Nell's second fight?
The power of friendship?
The power of a fist.
Well, everyone I guess it was him and Nami kept trying to get up there, right? And then what I liked about it, the fight was cool. I think what I really liked about it was them connecting the dots, where the Viper was like, why should it be him fighting? Why does this matter? Why is he doing this?
Yeah.
And then Robin's like, well, you see, it's because Luffy wants to help this guy down there. And he's like, he wants to ring the bell so then this guy can know, essentially so then Cricket can know that Skypiea is not, or the Eldorado is not at the bottom of the sea, but up top, or in the sky. And he wants them to know that because this guy, I love that Viper connected the dots that this guy was a descendant. And he's like, oh my God, this is Nolan's descendant. This is the dot, literally, final string that all.
I know. And everything connects. I feel like Luffy's determination really starts kicking in this arc, because when he puts his mind to something, he will go through with it. And he wanted to ring that bell so badly. He was going to do whatever it
literally
takes.
With his fist of is it gold? Because it was
fist of gold.
Because in the manga, I couldn't tell that. Well, I just assumed, and they said it, I think, at some point.
Yeah.
I'm sure in the anime it looks like it. But.
And that was a handicap to Luffy. A really big handicap, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he kept getting swung around or thrown off and all that, but finally he just did his punch through Enel to hit the bell, and I was like, dang, that's cool.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was so good.
There's so much in this arc.
There's a lot of history. Obviously, Luffy won. The Straw Hats won. They rung the bell. I thought that was a bittersweet moment because Cricket was like, I can hear it.
And he's like, I'm so glad that they're okay. He was worried about them. I was like, hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then Robin, obviously they found more stuff
because they got El Dorado back. So the village is. Oh, that was another thing. They're like, they're so bent on not protecting gold. They don't give a shit about the gold. They don't
give a shit about gold. Yeah.
But they wanted to protect the
bell.
The bell.
And the poly.
I forgot what it's called. Polygraph or something.
Polygraph? Yeah, polygraph.
Yeah. And she read it some more, and it kept talking about a weapon. So they keep alluding to a weapon. Yes. But dude, that reveal of the note of how Goldie Rogers I've marked this as
complete.
And I was like, what? Yeah. That's when she's like, oh, now. Which means he visited El Dorado, which also means, because Ganfor also was like, yeah, there's this one dude that came back, or one pirate that got through, and blah blah blah, and then it's Goldie Roger, and he knew, and everyone knows who this man is. I was like, oh my God, this guy's insane.
Oh yeah.
So. It just keeps
cool.
going, and then now she needs to continue that. She's like, okay, now I need to follow through that, and just follow that
because one message is complete, so she's like, I don't need to go look at this anymore.
But now they are checking multiple times, or she has to check multiple places now for sure.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And then I thought the funniest thing was every time they leave a place, it's always funny, or something cool happens, or something big. I think the best part when they left.
Oh, they party. They always
party. Oh yeah, they always party. Yeah. I think the funniest thing was they were trying to steal gold. And then the villagers or the city, everyone there was like, "Oh, we'll just gift it to them. Who cares? We don't care because they have no need for gold. They don't care. They care more about rubber bands."
That's true.
No,
they left in a funny situation.
Yeah. There was so much more stuff that I'm sure we could have talked about, but I think that was all the big stuff.
Oh yeah, that was all the good stuff.
And now I can't wait to know more. Because I'm super curious.
But will you read it?
Find out next time.
Curious.
Find out next time. Just check the dates
in between.
Is there
anything that you want to know? Anything you're curious about? What you're ready for next?
I just want to know what the D means in their name now. Because I'm like, bro, they keep talking about it.
Because Robin keeps alluding to it.
Yeah, she's like, that's why I'm also interested in this guy. And Ganfor is like, oh yeah, like they all know about this, like Goldie Roger. I'm like, dude, because then he's like, oh yeah, his name is Monkey D. Luffy, and they don't, because that's the thing, they never heard his full name. They just knew him as Luffy.
They just Luffy, yeah.
So,
okay, so you're interested in that. Devil Fruits, you're already interested in kind of like their categorization.
Yeah.
Okay. They have not talked about a crew member in a while.
Yeah, they're busy.
They're a little busy, fighting. Saving countries.
You know.
Saving people.
2 whole countries now.
2 whole countries now. But yeah. Are you enjoying the charm? I know you said early on Luffy's charm was kind of annoying. As an MC, but
I think I'm getting used to it. I think I just assumed. I said it before how anyone that like is near him just exudes stupid for a bit.
Yeah,
but
also they
way.
expand on whatever they want to do too.
Yeah,
because Luffy has that charm to just kind of go all out.
Yeah.
So. Oh, I'm excited for you. This next saga is a little rough, so.
Oh boy.
We're going in. It's one of my favorite sagas, actually.
Favorite saga? Okay.
Yeah. Pre-time skip. One of my favorite sagas.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't have anything else. You don't have anything else?
No.
The second half was all fights, all info dumps too.
All the dots being connected.
Yeah.
So much.
But it was good.
It's good.
But yeah. Thanks for tuning in. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at NgoVo Convo and NgoVo Convo. Logos above Harrison's head. If you are on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, do all the things, everything. Lick it, nudge it, gargle. The subscribe button.
What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? But let us know how we're doing. What do you want to see next? What do you want us to read, write? Oh, not write, because we're not writers. Review.
I was like, what?
Play.
What are you having me do?
Do all the things. We'll catch you next time on another Friday. One Piece Friday. Potentially. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.